Hello, myself Santosh Raikar, Assistant Professor of Electrical and Electronics Engineering Department, Angadi Institute of Technology and Management, Belagavi. I am handling third semester subject, that is transformers and generators, which has a subject code of 18EE33. This is a 40-60 pattern, 40 marks for your internal assessment, 60 marks for your semester end examinations. So it consists of two parts, that is transformers and generators. So some aspects you are going to study related to the transformers, and even some aspects you are going to study related to the generators. It consists of 5 modules. So I will give you a brief introduction regarding the subject, that is VTU prescribed syllabus. So module 1, it consists of 2 parts, that is single phase transformers and 3-phase transformers. Already you studied some basic aspects related to the single phase transformers in previous semesters. So that is the constructional features, operating principle, types, applications of single phase transformers. So here you are going to study some aspects that is related to the single phase transformers, that is operation of practical transformers, transformer under no load and on load with a phasor diagram you are going to study. Some test, that is open circuit, short circuit test you are going to study, and you are going to determine some equivalent parameters from these tests. Commercial and all day efficiency you are going to study related to the single phase transformers, and also you are going to study voltage regulation and its significance of single phase transformers. And second part, it consists of 3-phase transformers. Again you are going to study some introduction of 3-phase transformer, constructional features of 3-phase transformers, and there are some choices, that is single unit 3-phase transformers and bank of 3-phase transformers you are going to study, and some transformer connections you are going to study, that is star to star, delta to delta, star delta, zigzag star, and V to A connection and its features you are going to study. And some phase conversion, that is 3-phase to 2-phase conversion you are going to study, that is the Scott connection, and labeling of 3-phase transformer terminals you are going to study that, and also you are going to study some vector groups. So these all contents comes under, that is module 1 of the university prescribed syllabus of transformers and generators. And module 2, it consists of 3 parts. It is divided into 2 parts only. So first part is tests parallel operation of transformer, and second part is auto transformer and tap changing transformer. Tests parallel operation of transformer. So here you are going to study 2 tests. One is the polarity test and another one is the Sumpner test. And how the losses you are going to find out by these conduction of the tests, so that you are going to study, and that is the separation of hysteresis and eddy current losses you are going to study. And some parallel operation of transformer you are going to study, necessity of parallel operation, condition for parallel operation, single phase and 3-phase, both, for both transformer you are going to study. And load sharing in case of similar and dissimilar transformers you are going to study in case of parallel operation of transformer. And second part is auto transformers and tap changing transformers. Here you are going to study introduction to auto transformer, copper economy, equivalent circuit, no load, on load, tap changing transformers. So this is regarding the module 2 of transformers and generators syllabus. Third module, it consists of again 3 sub parts. So first part is three winding transformers and cooling of transformers. Second part of direct current generator, that is DC generator. Third part is a synchronous generator. So in case of three winding transformers and cooling transformers, you are going to study three winding transformers, cooling of transformers. What are the methods are employed to cool the transformers? So that you are going to study in case of this particular bit. Then next part is direct current generator, that is DC generator. So already you were studied some basic aspects related to the DC generator in previous semester, that is constructional feature, operating principle, and applications, types of DC generator, that all you studied in previous semester. So here you are going to study the armature reaction, commutation and associated problems. So that you are going to study. And third part is synchronous generator. So again the winding construction, that is armature winding, winding factor, EMF equation, harmonic, causes, reduction of harmonics, armature reaction, synchronous reactance, equivalent circuit you are going to study. So this is about module 3. Then module 4, it consists of synchronous generator analysis, that is alternator on load. So how the alternator can be controlled by the excitation, and what do you mean by the excitation, that you are going to study for constant terminal voltage. The voltage regulation you are going to study related to the synchronous generator. Open circuit and short circuit characteristics of synchronous generator you are going to study. Assessment of reactance, short circuit ratio, synchronous reactance you are going to study. And some voltage regulations, how the voltage regulation can be determined by EMF method, MMF method and ZPF method, that is electromotive force method, magnetomotive force method and zero power factor method. So this is regarding contents of the fourth module. And fifth module, again here there are two parts. First part is synchronous generators, that is salient pole, that is effect of salient, two reaction theory, parallel operation of generators and load sharing, methods of synchronization, synchronizing power, determination of XD, XQ and slip test you are going to study. And second part is performance of synchronous generator, that is power angle characteristics, silent, both type of generator, because basically there are two types of generator, salient pole type generator, non-salient pole type generator. Here power angle characteristics you are going to study for both the type of generator, that is salient and non-salient pole type of generator. And power angle diagram you are going to study, reluctance power, capability curve for large turbo generator you are going to study, and some hunting and damper windings. So what is the purpose of using the damper winding and what do you mean by the hunting? So these are going to study in a what performance of synchronous generator. This is what contents of what fifth module. Now this is what brief introduction regarding the syllabus. So bit by step by step we are going to study later. And these are the some textbooks. So what textbooks we supposed to refer? So for this particular subject, that is transformers and generators, I hope there are as per the university prescribed syllabus, here he mentioned some textbooks and some reference books. So I think it is better to go for what electric machines by what Ashfaquin. Usually this here he suggested that is for a reference book. So even this textbook is also good, that is D.P. Kothari, that is electric machines. And even you can also refer Principles of Electric Machines by V.K. Mehta and Rohit Mehta. So so just go through with all the textbooks, which one you feel better, so you can refer that textbook. Now we will study first module. So that is module 1, single phase transformer. Now, so these are the some contents of single phase transformer, that is module 1. So these all contents that we are going to study in this video. So the some part of these contents we are going to study, and next video we are going to study so the remaining parts one by one. So basically it consists of the operation of practical transformer under no load and on load with phasor diagram, open circuit and short circuit test, and how the equivalent circuit parameter can be determined by the open circuit and short circuit test that we are going to study. The efficiency of a single phase transformer, both commercial as well as ALDA efficiency, that we are going to study, and voltage regulation and its significance that we are going to study. In this video we are going to study that operation of practical transformer under no load condition with phasor diagram. Now let us consider that part. Operation of practical transformer under no load and on load with phasor diagram. So you know the transformer constructional feature, what exactly the transformer consists of. So this is a transformer, this is a core type transformer. So it consists of a laminated core, two side of a transformer, it is called as a limb. A left limb, a winding is wounded, it is called as a primary winding. A right limb, a winding is wounded, it is called as a secondary winding. Primary winding, it is always connected with a what, single phase supply. Secondary winding, it is always connected with a what, load, that you know already. And here some parameters is mentioned here, that is E1 and E2. E1 be the what, so here, so this is the E1, so this one is the what, E2. So these E1 and E2 be the what, the induced EMF, that is primary induced EMF and secondary induced EMF respectively. And here you know, so there is a primary current, so usually it is called as a I0, that is no load current. If the load it is disconnected with the what, your device, so then so here some a small current can be drawn, that is called as water, that I0, that is the no load current. And you know due to the mutual induction principle, there will be a mutually induced EMF, and this mutual induced EMF due to what, the mutual flux. So this mutual flux it is denoted here, that is phi m. So now this is regarding the transformer, that constructional feature of the transformer. And let me move towards what, the transformer on no load condition. So first we'll discuss what parameter will consider transformer is under no load condition. You know, the transformer under no load condition means what? Here there is no load is connected, so at the secondary terminal of the transformer. So once you introduce the single phase supply to the primary winding of a transformer, so there will be a no load current it flows, that is denoted as I0. This is called as a no load current. So this no load current, it has two components. So what are those components? The first component, it is called as what? The magnetizing component. This is the what? The magnetizing component. It is denoted by that I mu. It is denoted as I mu. And second one is the what? The working component, or it is also called as the wattful component. It is denoted as the symbol what? It is IW. You know what I said? So there is no load is connected here. So once you introduce the single phase supply to the primary winding of a transformer, so obviously, so there will be a no load current is flowing through the primary winding of a transformer. So this no load current can be divided into two components. So those are what? The magnetizing component and the working component, or it is also called as the what? Wattful component. Now let us consider first one is what the magnetizing component. It is denoted by the symbol I suffix mu. This component is known as magnetizing component because it is actually used to magnetize the core of a transformer. You know, once you introduce the single phase supply to the primary winding of a transformer, obviously the primary winding of a transformer, it is coupled with what the left limb of a transformer, it magnetizes that part. That current magnetizes that part, since it is called as the what? The magnetizing component of a current. We can also say that I mu is used to set up a flux phi m in the core. So whatever be the mutual flux is set up in a core, so that is what influenced by what? The I mu. That is the magnetizing component of a current. Now as the flux of phi m is developed by the I mu, so they both will be in phase to each other, as known as the what? Phasor diagram. Now if you can relate these two parameters, that is I mu and the phi m, so these are what? Directly proportional to each other. If you suppose to draw the phasor diagram, so these will have in a phase. That means once you go on increase the I mu, so there will be a chance to increase in the what? The phi m. This current I mu is also called reactive or wattless component of no load current. So this I mu is also called as what? Reactive component of a no load current, and also wattless component of a what? No load current. Because this component does not consume active power. It consumes what? Reactive power. It is not responsible for any losses in the circuit. So since this is also called as what? The wattless component of no load current, and also called as what? The reactive component of no load current. Now let me move towards what? Working component, or it is also called as what? Wattful component of a current, that is I suffix W. So this current I suffix W is basically responsible for the losses in the transformer. Mainly it is responsible for the two types of losses. So those are what? The hysteresis loss and the eddy current losses. But it is also responsible for the negligible of what? I square R loss. Now this working component of a current, it is responsible for what? Only these two losses, that is the hysteresis loss as well as the eddy current losses. I hope you are familiar with the hysteresis and the eddy current losses, how these losses can be formed. So I think these losses you studied in what? In previous semester. And even this component is responsible for the losses in the transformer, and it is actually does some work in the transformer. Hence it is called as what? Working component. Obviously, what work it's supposed to do? So this it's supposed to do that some work in a transformer. That means, so there will be some effect on the efficiency of a transformer. There will be some effect on the voltage regulation of a transformer. So these change in the efficiency, change in the regulation, change in the power factor. So whatever the changes it's supposed to what make. So that is called as what? The working component of a transformer. Or it is also called as what? The active component or wattful component of no load current. So that magnetizing component of a no load current, it is called as what? The reactive or wattless component of a no load current. Working component of a no load current of a transformer, it is called as what? Active component or wattful component of a no load current. So this IW, it is related with the what? Your supply voltage or the primary voltage. So these two are proportional to each other. So since IW is in phase with the applied voltage, that is V1. So this you should keep in your mind. But I mu, it is in phase with the what? Phi m, because it's supposed to what? Produce the phi m. Since the I mu, it is phase with the what? Phi m. Now let me draw the phasor diagram of transformer on no load condition. So here we supposed to consider some reference phasor. So which one is the reference phasor? here, that is phi suffix m. That is the mutual flux. Here we are going to consider. So this is a what? Reference phasor, that is phi m. Now with respect to this phi m, we supposed to draw what? The remaining component. So first we'll draw both the induced EMF. So what are the induced EMF here? Two induced EMF we are going to define. That is E1 is the one induced EMF and E2 be the what? Another induced EMF. So these two induced EMF, the magnitude of these induced EMF, what we supposed to consider, which are influenced by the same flux, that is this flux only, that is phi m flux only. So since they both will be in phase to each other, that means these E1 and E2 both are influenced by the same flux, that is phi m. So since these two induced EMF are both are in each other, but it makes some angle with the what? Phi m, because these two induced EMF are what? Lagging with the what? Phi m of what? 90 degree. Since so we supposed to draw, so these two induced EMF, that is E1 and E2, here lagging with the what? Flux phi m. So this is the reference phasor, that is flux phi m is the reference phasor you consider here, and these E1 and E2 are in phase, but these two are in what? Lagging with what? The phi m, since we drawn here. Now the voltage drop in the primary winding are very negligible in this case, so we can neglect them. Hence E1 will be equal to the applied voltage V1. So here we supposed to consider as what? Obviously, so E1 and V1 both are equal, because E1 can be produced by the what? The supply voltage of what? The V1 only. So since so both magnitude will be equal, but according to the Lenz's law, so these two direction will be in opposite direction. So since we supposed to draw the V1 phasor here, so this V1 phasor, so here I can draw the V1 phasor. So this is the V1 phasor. So V1 phasor, so this is exactly opposite with the what? The E1 phasor. So we can draw it as shown here. So what we consider, first we considered as a phi m as a what? The reference phasor with respect to phi m. Then we'll draw both the induced EMF E1 and E2. So these two induced EMF are both are in phase, because both will be influenced by the same flux, but these will lag behind what? The flux phi m at some angle, that is 90 degree. And here there is a voltage drop, the negligible voltage drop is to be considered here. So if we supposed to neglect the voltage drop, then E1 will be equal to the what? Applied voltage, but according to the Lenz's law, so both direction will be what? Opposite, since V1 can be what? Drawn here. So V1 can be drawn here. So now here, so so already we discussed that I mu will be in phase with the flux phi m. So phi m can be considered here. So I mu is in phase with the flux phi m, since I mu phasor can be drawn in phase with the flux phi m. And also you discussed that IW is in phase with the what? The applied voltage. So since IW can be drawn here, so this is in phase with the applied voltage, that is V1. So now we used to consider these two phasor sum. So these two phasor sum will give as a what? The no load component of a current. So this is represented as what? The I0. How this I0 phasor can be drawn here? I0 phasor can be drawn like this. You just draw one parallel line here. Just draw one parallel line. So this line magnitude is equals to I mu, and you can draw one more parallel line. So from here, so this magnitude is equals to what? IW, and both will meet at a point here. So then join this point with the origin, then you will get what? I0. Here I naught will be the what phasor sum of what I mu and IW. Now this is the angle you can represent. This is what phi naught, the no load component of what the current angle will be what phi naught with respect to V1 and I1. Now here you can get the one right angle triangle. So here you can get, there is one right angle triangle. You know, in right angle triangle, so why I consider the right angle triangle here? Because I supposed to represent these two magnitude, that is IW and I mu, and also I used to represent what I naught. How I can represent IW? So just I can consider the right angle triangle here. So this is a right angle triangle. So see here you can consider this is a right angle triangle. Now here this is a 90 degree. So this is a 90 degree, and here there is an angle. What is the angle? It is this is the angle of what phi naught. You know, you can define the sides of this right angle triangle. Obviously, you know, you have all the sides of the right angle triangle. So what is this side? This side is a hypotenuse. What is the magnitude of this hypotenuse? It is the I naught. And this side is what? It is adjacent side. What is the magnitude of this adjacent side? Adjacent side magnitude is what? IW. And what is this side? So this side, it is nothing but the I mu. How you consider this is I mu? Because these two sides are equal. Which one? These two sides are equal. So since I can consider, so this as a what? I mu. So this can be considered it as a what? I mu. Now this is a I mu, this is a I naught, this is a IW. Now here you can define all the components. That is, if I suppose to define IW, so you can define here cos phi naught. If you define cos phi naught, what becomes cos phi naught is what? Adjacent by hypotenuse. What is your adjacent? IW is the adjacent. And what is your hypotenuse? The hypotenuse is I naught, then IW is equals to I naught cos phi naught. Then similarly you can define what? The sin phi naught here. If you supposed to define sin phi naught, so there you can get what? The I mu component. Here I can show in the next slide. So in this slide I shown here that IW, here I can obtain as, that is IW is equals to I naught cos phi naught, because in their right angle triangle I can define what? Cos phi naught. If I suppose to define cos phi naught can be written as IW divided by I naught. Then similarly you can define there sin phi naught. If you define sin phi naught there, that is I mu divided by I naught. So since IW is equals to I naught cos phi naught, then I mu is equals to what? I naught sin phi naught. Then what about I naught? So I naught can be written as what? The square root of IW square plus I mu square. Then again you can define what? Cos phi naught. You know, cos phi naught is equals to what? IW divided by I mu. Why I have written what? I mu here? Because in place of what? Here. So I naught is equals to square root of IW square plus I mu square is written here. Now actually cos phi naught I can represent as what? IW divided by I naught. Now you can write down the values of I naught. I naught is the square root of IW square plus I mu square. So you can substitute this value, then you can get cos phi naught is equals to IW divided by I mu. As the angle is phi naught, so power factor will be what? Cos phi naught. That means your cos phi naught will be what? It is the power factor. The cos phi naught magnitude will be what? IW divided by I mu. And also here you can find the core loss. So core loss component, how you can represent the core loss component? This is what? V1 I naught cos phi naught. V1 is the supply voltage, I naught is the no load component of the current, and cos phi naught is the what? No load component of the what? The power factor. Then finally you can write V1 IW, it is nothing but what? I naught cos phi naught can be written as IW. This is what core loss component of a transformer. Then that reactive power, that is magnetizing component of a power. So that is given as V1 I naught sin phi naught. Then you know, I naught sine phi naught, it is nothing but that is I mu. You can write as it is. This is what the reactive component of a power. So since it can be represented by what VAR, that is volt ampere reactive, and this is what the active component of a power, since it is given as what in terms of watts, volt into ampere. Now this is about the transformer under no load condition. So, and also the phasor diagram you studied. In next video we'll study the performance of the transformer under load condition with a phasor diagram. Till then, thank you. Be safe, stay at home.